What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is Kevin with Optimized Essentials, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about the secrets to breaking bad habits, okay? Now, the reason I'm sharing this video with you is because 2023 is around the corner, and even if you're watching this in the future, there's a very, very good chance that you are struggling with a vice, a bad habit, an activity that you can't seem to stop, that you just repeat over and over and over and over again. You're like, why? I need to stop this. I need to stop smoking too much. I need to stop playing video games too much. I need to stop watching so much pornography, jacking off, busting my nut, gambling, shopping, etc., etc., etc. Okay? Now, all of us have vices, all of us have weaknesses, all of us have activities or bad habits that we can't seem to stop. Reason being, we're using these activities to meet a need, okay? There was a video I filmed in the past called Unmet Emotional Needs, or Can't Stop Repeating a Bad Habit. Reason being, unmet emotional needs, trauma, etc., okay? So the theory, or at least the proposition in a nutshell, so I don't repeat myself, is that we have certain emotional needs, also known as Maslow's hierarchy of needs, or Tony Robbins' 6 human needs. These needs are fundamental to the human psyche, and when they're not being met, we will find a way to meet them regardless of the activity. We will use a lower form of behavior to meet a higher form of need, right? For example, if we're feeling lonely, we might go out and we buy ourselves food and we binge eat. We go on a shopping spree, or we go play video games, or we do something to occupy ourselves, to either numb or escape this feeling of loneliness, right? Another example, let's say you have a need for significance. You have a need to feel valued, to feel helpful, right? But you aren't getting it through, let's say, a higher form of activity, such as a service. Like, you're not providing anything to make someone feel, to make someone else value you or make you feel significant for providing them that service, right? So what do you do instead? You might be an online troll. You might be someone who does something to feel significant, but it's a very poor way to meet your need for significance because it's a lower level activity, okay? So I hope you get it. We have certain emotional needs, certain needs of the psyche, certain needs of the human being that aren't being met, and we use bad habits, insert bad habit of watching too much porn, playing too much video games, doing too much drugs, doing too much gambling, right? Blowing away all your money even though you know you shouldn't, but you get that thrill of gambling. Or you're watching too much TV, you are eating too much junk food, too much Cheetos, splurging too much. You get the idea, right? And this can also be because of emotional trauma, right? If you've been hurt in the past, you're using all of these activities as a way to make up for your needs, or to make up for your feeling of hurt that you don't even know, right? If you've been abandoned in the past, if you've had friends stab your back, if you've had certain experiences, you know, family beating you, molesting you, that's causing a deep-rooted emotional trauma, you're going to use certain activities, maybe promiscuity, you know, sleeping around, again, binge eating. These are just common ways to numb this problem or to find relief, pleasure, and whatnot to help yourself feel better, right? So once we have this wiring that I called habits gone wild, right? Not girls gone wild, but habits gone wild. When your habits have turned into its own entity because you've used something to comfort yourself, either it being eating too much, playing too much video games, drinking too much alcohol, smoking too much pot to numb yourself, this now becomes a habit that you use constantly, and it becomes a habitual cycle, this loop that you can't get out of, because despite how much pain it brings you, there is that moment of relief where you feel good for a moment, for a given moment of time, and you're just like, okay, thank God. But the detriments, meaning the bad, negative repercussions of it, has exceeded its benefit, but you still are stuck on that habitual loop, okay? Now, there's a lot of people who talk about replacing bad habits, stopping, the behavior by replacing it with something else. Personally, I find that not very effective, very difficult. And I know because I used to smoke a lot of pot. I used to do a lot of marijuana, right? And I was hooked on this because I had a lot of family problems, right? And I used to play video games all day, every day when I was at school because there was nothing else to do. It's very boring every now and then. So there was a period I don't play video games. Now I still play at night with my brother. And it's not necessarily a bad habit, but it's something I do want to stop. And I'm implementing some of these tools I'm about to share with you. So smoking pot, binge eating, these are some of the things that I've had problems with that I learned to break with the secret right here, okay? So the secret isn't to try and stop bad habits, okay? The secret isn't trying to stop a certain behavior because if you've tried to stop something already, you know it's not very effective, right? If you're trying to will yourself to stop something, but you've developed the roots, the habitual cycles to stop something or to repeat something, the chances of you stopping cold turkey are very, very minuscule. It's not that it's not possible, it's just very, very difficult, especially if you tried before. So instead of giving yourself the guilt, giving yourself the negativity, the self-sabotage that you can't do something, you can't stop something, just stop worrying about stopping the bad habit altogether, right? The secret that I have found to stopping a bad habit is to simply find better activities to be disciplined for. Now, I'm gonna film a video in the future, so it'll probably be out by then. It's how to finally change your life. And I'm gonna brush up on some of this as well. So the essence or the secret of finding an activity to become disciplined for is a very powerful one, right? Because once you find an activity to engage in, not necessarily to replace your bad habit, but an activity to engage in either joining a gym, joining a MMA gym, a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu gym, a boxing gym, joining a club or something like that. Once you find something that you can be disciplined for, you'll find that the activities will naturally drop off on its own because those activities, one, no longer meet your needs, and two, are causing a detriment to this new activity. Now, I'll give you some examples, okay? So for 4, 5, 6, 7, many years of my life when I did pot, that was one of the hardest things for me to break, was I used it as a way of comfort, right? But as I started to meditate more, right? As I started the new habit of meditating and the new conscious practices of breath work, Kundalini yoga, and these elevating, mind-expanding, altering substances, psychedelics and whatnot, and experiences that gave me more fulfillment than being high, I realized that by taking edibles or smoking pot, my vibration would actually lower, right? So when I started to engage in higher forms of activity, again, breath work, Kundalini yoga, meditation, these higher forms of activities elevated my consciousness to a way where I no longer got the same feeling, the same benefits, the same needs being fulfilled from smoking pot. I stopped smoking pot a long time ago, but I still had the habit of doing edibles, right? And even though I did edibles or stopped smoking and did edibles, the effects that I got from getting high were still like very unpleasant. I got very self-conscious. My self-esteem would feel lowered. I'd feel like I'm in a shell and I'm very shy and timid and my confidence is much lower than I am when I'm sober. And then I just didn't feel like me, right? But the activities that I got into my life, not replaced, but the activities that I started to build, right? Healthy lifestyle habits, meditating, breath work, and going to the gym and doing these activities that elevated me more, gave me the comparison, the foundation that allowed me to say, this is no longer serving me and it's so much easier to drop this out of my life and go to these activities instead because these activities provided me a higher sense of fulfillment and met my needs on a higher level. And I didn't have to do anything to stop this. right? Or I didn't have to replace it. I just started new activities. What I'm saying here is the secret is to start new activities that will allow you to shed away the old activities. I'll give you another example. I'm about to see a client right now for body work, right? Now, let's say I had a problem with binge eating, okay? I had a problem with binge eating for a while when I was like during COVID, when I was working out in Orange County by myself. I had no friends. So after my 9 to 5, I would go out and I'd buy a bunch of food. I'd eat like Chipotle. I'd grab like 2 burritos, like chips and like all bunch of stuff. I would just down it, right? I didn't get super overweight, but it was a very unhealthy cycle. But I used food as a way of coping. Well, let's say I still have that habit. I've noticed that when I work on clients, I need to have a green smoothie. I need to have something vegetarian, something light, so that I can sense and feel people's energy. But let's say if I had a pizza or something heavy and whatnot, and I have a habit of doing that, and I noticed that consistently, I would have bad experiences. But this is hypothetical. I'd have bad experiences with my clients. I couldn't feel their energy. I would be kind of shaky and like nervous and not really able to deliver. Then I would start to realize this is interfering with my practice, right? Or someone, let's say, is joining a MMA or a BJJ gym and they're overweight and they have a habit of overeating. And they see all these people boxing people up, you know, doing really well in their performances. And they're like, what is going on? Why can't I perform it? And then they start to correlate. Oh, it's because I'm eating all this junk food. They realize that these people are super disciplined with their eating habits. And instead of trying to stop, right, and like consciously will themselves to stop, they realize, okay, this activity, binge eating, is interfering with my higher activity of getting better at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, getting better at boxing, getting better at going to the gym, fitness, etc. This activity is interfering with what I'm trying to get good at, so I will naturally shy this away because it's no longer giving me that fulfillment. Or let's say you're joining a club, a social club, an interactive club, and whatever bad habit that you're doing, you notice is interfering with this higher form of activity. This could be, again, getting high. If you have a trouble with drinking and you notice that people can smell the alcohol off of you, or they know you're getting high, and they're giving you very weird looks, and it's interfering with your ability to develop a relationship with them. And you personally value the connection and intimacy of a close relationship, right? Not just like in terms of a significant other, but you value deep connections with other people. And you realize that being high, drinking alcohol, being drunk around other people is not serving your ability to form those relationships. Because you value that more, it's going to be easier for you to stop drinking, stop smoking for that new activity, right? Another example, maybe the last one. Let's say you have a habit of sleeping way past midnight, way past your bedtime, 1 or 2 in the morning. You notice that it's affecting your ability to perform at the gym, right? For me, this was a long time ago, right? I noticed that if I slept past 12 p.m., like even 11 p.m., my performance at the gym would be heavily lowered because if you don't sleep at a certain time, like around 10 or so, each hour that is past 10, 11, 12, right, diminishes your deep sleep quality. And as a result, you're not going to be as recovered. And when you're not as recovered, you're not going to be able to perform the same at the gym. So when I started to make these correlations and realized that sleeping in or going to sleep late is interfering with my ability to go to the gym because I enjoy going to the gym more, the habit of sleeping later slowly dropped off. You get what I'm saying? So the key here, the secret, is to find certain activities, either joining a club, joining a gym, starting a new project, starting something that allows you to become disciplined, okay? This will make it so much easier for you to stop bad habits because these bad habits are interfering with your ability to achieve these goals, okay? So that right there is a secret. Now, it's not gonna happen overnight. You need to find the activity and you need to engage with this new activity enough to realize what these bad habits are doing as a result of the new habit that you're trying to reform, or you need to understand how this is impacting this negatively. The stronger you can make the correlations between the new activity that you're engaging in and how this is negatively impacting that activity, again, for like professional athletes or people who are very serious about their craft, if they're realizing that drinking, smoking, partying too much is affecting their ability to perform at a high level, they're going to easily say no to these and drop this off, or at least minimize them to a heavy degree so that it no longer affects their life, okay? So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, drop some comments down below if you need some help, and I will film much more the coming year. You guys have a good one. Peace.